Hello everyone, welcome to the Jenkins Infrastructure team meeting. Today we are 22 July 2025. Around the virtual table, many people. Yay, that's good. First, myself, Damien Duportal, Jared is here, Mark Wade, Stefan Merle, Bruno Verharten. Kevin is not here, but usually he joins later. We have Birajit, Biru, Code Streamer, and Jack. Welcome everyone. Let me copy and paste the shared link in the chat here. It's also on the on Matrix. Good. Let's get started with announcements. Because last week, as a reminder, the team meeting was cancelled, so we have 2 weeks to review. 2 weeks ago, Jenkins version 2.5.19 has been successfully released. Note that there was a Docker Hub incident that was preventing the web UI to update. The images were available. We deployed immediately after the end of the release on the infrastructure, but visually, browsing to the Docker Hub web pages showed no changes during a few days. It took them 2 days to fix the problem. It's gone. So just notice nothing for us or no levers. So for us, it was a successful release. I wasn't available last week. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Stefan, for taking care of this one. But it looks like the release 2.5.19 has been successfully released. No issue, right? Cool. And so today, the release 2.5.20 has started on time. So 1 hour and a half ago, that should be finished in 2 hours max, unless we have a problem, of course. Any question on the Jenkins weekly releases?
No, but it's a piece of information on the upcoming LTS. Maybe we can talk about it in calendar,
Okay.
whatever.
Announcement. Let's get with the LTS tomorrow. It's also on the calendar.
Great.
That's tomorrow. That should be 2.5.16.1.
Yeah. So, and I ran both the release and the package job this morning in the first run because we have to run it once to get the parameters parsed correctly,
Yes.
etc. Then I will launch it tomorrow shortly after I awaken and we'll watch it. So
Okay.
I'm the release lead.
Do you want us to trigger the release even before, since we will be earlier than you due to the time zones? At least
Uh,
triggering the build, unless you want to be sure that we don't mess up and we can wait for you. No problem.
I guess it's fine either way. I don't want to distract you, but if you'd like to launch it at the start of your working day, that's great. Are you comfortable that you can provide the correct parameters, etc.?
Yes, I will double check with you, but yep, that's okay for me. It's just that it helps to release earlier.
Yes,
So if we have an issue, we have more time to fix it, and then it let us more time to deploy the LTS everywhere as well.
I agree. Yeah, that would be great. If you're willing to start it at start of your working day, then I will track it. I confirmed that I was able to connect to release.ci this morning and do the preliminary steps. So yeah, that's great. If you can start the build earlier and then I'll just monitor it.
Cool. So tomorrow is LTS release day, and I guess with a redesign header on the LTS UI.
Correct?
Aye. Finally, I will stop messing my brain with the Manage Jenkins button. At least it will be homogeneous across all our
Right.
controllers. I don't
Weekly
say I
and
won't be messed, but yeah.
right. Your muscle memory will eventually redefine itself. It may take 6 months, a year, but it will redefine itself. At least mine has.
Cool. Anything else on the next LTS, folks? By the way, thanks, Mark, for updating the calendar. I've seen also the .2 and .3 on the calendar, so that will help us knowing in advance. On the announcement 2 weeks ago, the 9th July, we had a successful security advisory, plugins only. Nothing else to say, but just to mention, since we opened the case 2 weeks ago, we close it now. On the infra roadmap, just a quick look. So we are aligned on the priorities. I haven't updated yet the CI Jenkins IO migration because that one has been finished. It's on AWS and we are stabilizing. But part of this top level thing is also closely related to decommissioning the Azure's sponsored subscription, which is right now our top level priority before we move all of this. I didn't feel like to have an item here that say decommission Azure sponsored that looks too technical or let's say low level detail. How do you feel about that? Do you want me to add an item here? I don't mind. It's just I want everyone to be in sync on the priority and we give enough visibility and updates on the roadmap.
Yeah, for me, the way you've done it is great. I use this as my guiding, and thanks for updating the roadmap. Thanks very much.
Cool. So that means, if that's okay, the current CI Jenkins IO will stay current and it will move to released once we will have decommissioned Azure CDF, since they are closely related to the outcome for the project, for Jenkins project is manage safely the cloud billing for the platform. Is that okay for everyone? That means once this one will go to release, of course, we will get started on PKG migration and Puppet. Okay? No objection, no question. Cool. So that means our top level priority is finishing Azure sponsored subscription decommission. Subscription decommission. Okay, I need to buy myself fingers. Okay, that's all for the announcement for me. Are there other announcements or question on the announcement, folks? 2, 3, no? Okay. Then upcoming calendar. Next week, 29 of July, we will have a new weekly release that should be 2.5.21. Next LTS is tomorrow, and the same LTS.2 will happen in August. I will update the calendar next week. We don't have any security release planned and publicly announced. And we have 3 credentials that will expire in the upcoming 3 weeks. They all happen in August. So we discussed, given Stefan's unavailability, Stefan will have a few days off and then a big block of 3 weeks off in August. So in order to have closures on the tasks, we agreed that Stefan will treat this free one. So that includes creating the issue. That's a gift or not. And Stefan, do we agree you should be working on this free renewal next week, Thursday and Friday, before you go on big holidays?
Exactly.
Cool. I just wanted to be sure that we are online and that I explain myself clearly, because sometimes my brain is full. And what I say is not what I think. Cool. So that means I can remove this free out of my brain. And we will treat the credential-less part for the third one in September, October, but later. We don't think about this, so we can have a clean closure. That's all on the calendar. Are there things to add, change, or questions? Yep. Okay. Of course, Stefan, you can work on these next week. Issues included. At your leisure.
That's exactly what we said.
Perfect.
Thursday and Friday, yes.
I was thinking about the issues, because
So
for
we
me,
can
working
start
on
the issues this week, you mean?
because I tend to separate writing an issue and working on the issue are two distinct things in my
but
brain.
you said next week, so that was confusing.
Yeah, that's why I want to remove the confusion I'm creating.
Good.
So we agree both issue and working will be next week. Is that okay? You don't need to create the issues this week. That's what I mean.
Okay, we'll see if I got time as well.
Okay, if you feel like that's even better. Thanks. Cloud budgets. On the CDF account, we have consumed 2.6K. We have a forecast at 4K. So the forecast hasn't changed since the beginning of the month. We have added new resources, so we consume a bit more than last month. And we still have some margin. The expected threshold is 4.5K monthly. So we still have some margin. That means we can continue moving resources here and optimizing if need be. So everything is green on that area. On the Azure sponsorship, we need to increase the velocity because we have 1.7K left and we consume around 250 daily. So let's say in 8 days, if we haven't moved things, my credit card will be charged or things will be stopped. I don't know which one. So yes, I have a good incentive to finish that. And of course, I encourage
is it
everyone.
feasible for us to finish it in that time, or do we need to start planning to reimburse your credit card?
No, that's feasible.
Okay, so it is feasible with the time that we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The consumption has decreased. That's a direct effect of moving CI Jenkins IO to AWS. As you can see, if you do a linear extrapolation, clearly we won't reach 10K for this month. DigitalOcean, the consumption is steady. A slight increase due to the machine we gave for Jay for experiment on Linux. That's a few bucks per month, so that's fine. CloudBees. Oh, I forgot to update the CloudBees one. Sorry. So I don't know. I guess it's steady. We'll need to check. However, on the AWS sponsored account, we clearly see the effect of moving CI Jenkins IO here because we have consumed 3K and we have a forecast at 4.5K. We have 94,000 credits until 2027. We expect an average of 6K per month, and if we have 6K per month, we can continue living until next summer. If we decrease the consumption and we see a few areas where we can go even further in time. The goal is, of course, to pass 2026. More on this once we have finished the migration of Azure sponsorship, because of course that's my credit card on this later one. On JFrog, we see an increase on the bandwidth download this month. We have reached 18 terabytes. The forecast is at 27, which is higher than the previous months. And we saw a slight increase in storage, but that one makes sense. That I think that's something that ought to happen regularly. 30 gigabyte per month is quite normal.
Well, particularly since we're now storing the logs that we're using for analysis, right? So the log files that we're using, but they're tiny, right? They're tiny compared to terabytes, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that could expect for a
right.
wide 30 gigabytes.
We will continue gathering those. The agreement is we'll continue gathering those because they have a potential to be very useful, and discarding them doesn't save much.
Yep. Which make me think about the bandwidth.
I have updated. Sorry, I have updated.
Many thanks. AWS CloudBees, thanks. Okay. Oh, we have an increase. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll have to have a quick.
forecast.
We'll have a quick look to see what increased. By the way, back to JFrog. Infra CI Jenkins IO has jobs which downloads things from Artifactory. From the VM agents. I'm just writing this as a summary.
Right.
My wild guess are ATH Docker image, plugin health core, and I forgot we have at least free Java applications, and I think it's their Docker image because first the Docker image run the Maven package, and then the generated jar or war is packaged in a Docker image to run in production.
Actually, and now that you mentioned it, Damien, I'm worried that I think I know what it is, and I'm worried that it's not those things because those would be the obvious things. I'm frightened that it might be documentation generation. We have a job. I don't recall if we do
Ja
that on Infra CI or on Trusted.
it's on Javadoc, you mean?
No, this is the backend extension indexer and the pipeline steps documentation generator.
Oh, need to check.
Yeah, so Mark's realize, just thank you for saying it. I'm a little embarrassed to realize that I hadn't thought of this before. There's a note in one of those two tools that says, hey, we're downloading from Artifactory. We should really use mirrors.
Um,
So pipeline step generator or the backend extension indexer.
Backend extension indexer. Okay,
Right.
so we will check. Using Mirror might or might not be the best solution in that case because ACP runs on Amazon with CI close to the
Ah,
agent.
okay.
However, I think we could use the same technique as the BOM cache.
Well, yeah. If we've got ACP available and it could use ACP, then no
Now,
code change.
for the
Oh,
BOM build, we have one additional caching layer. We
okay.
have a job that once a day run a few Maven commands based on the BOM lines that generate a zip archive that get
Ah,
at least our goal is to reach at least 80% of the dependencies of the BOM. And then that zip file is mounted and used on each BOM build for each parallel stage.
got it.
So that drastically decreases the impact on the ACP itself, and it's still a caching layer, so it doesn't go to Artifactory either. So that should be a quick one. Especially in Infra CI, it's not public, so the risk of cache poisoning are clearly lower than on CI Jenkins IO. So we
Okay.
can deploy an easy version here instead of having to deploy an ACP. ACP is also a solution. We know we can redeploy it on Kubernetes
Right.
as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. My apologies that I hadn't thought of it before. And when Basil was describing that, I'm suspicious. I just remember now that you've said it, remember that there was a case where there had been a note and one of those tools saying, hey, that's weird. This is downloading from Artifactory when all it
Yeah.
needs is plugins. They could come from mirrors. They could come from elsewhere.
May I ask your help, Mark, to open an issue on the help desk, just stating that Infra CI downloads data from on Artifactory.
Yes, I can do that.
And then I will check the details. We will use it as an audit trial, and
I will.
that will be a separated issue than the big one on Artifactory where Darren
Yes,
and you are interacting with
right.
Basil.
That's one that issue we can do it has a very specific, we know when we succeeded in closing it because it
Exactly,
good. I will
exactly.
do
And
that.
cool, thanks. Because most of the conversation we had about Artifactory are in a private channel. So at least let's extract the one that are worth publishing because that's okay. That's something we can work on and that's easier for us to track. Is that okay?
Right. I will
And
do
one
that.
less thing for you and Darren and Basil to manage.
Yes, thank you. I'll do it.
Are there any other questions on the cloud consumptions? One, two, three, no. Okay. So then I guess we can jump on the operational tasks. First, what were we able to finish during the past 2 weeks? In the category, keep the platform sane and maintainable. First, as we mentioned, we finished the migration of CI Jenkins IO to AWS. Since last week, we had the cleanup and leftovers. We have removed everything that was related to CI Jenkins IO from Azure at all. That was the last remaining thing before closing this issue. Nothing else worth mentioning, unless you have a question. Which means now, and that's what we started and don't hesitate to continue, if you see an issue on CI Jenkins IO currently, please open an issue on the help desk so we can track it separately. Because the migration is finished, and that new issue will mean we have a bug in CI Jenkins IO on AWS, which is different meaning than planning a migration. We renewed the repository permission updater Artifactory admin token. So we have the same for 3 months. That one cannot be credential-less without huge changes. So let's continue to renew it every 3 months. Thanks, Stefan, for working, and thanks, Sailister, for providing a new mirror in Germany, We weren't in dire need, but any mirror is good. That spread the load to any sponsors. So thanks for working on this. It looks like it's working now. We had a minor hiccup, but most probably a configuration issue that we understood and fixed immediately. But yeah, now we have that new mirror. That also helped us to improve a little bit the documentation. Anything else to add on this one, Stefan?
Yes,
I
maybe
don't
the
remember.
fact that we kind of reached the maximum of mirror we can handle right now with the configuration we have of mirror
Oh,
bits, and that we will have to plan the upgrade.
yep. That's been the case for 2 years. So with the current mirror bits
So
version we
yes,
use
we're
has start to have a concurrency bug when highly
we have some
available,
time.
when you have more than 10 mirrors listed. That doesn't mean the mirrors are not used. It's just that it takes a bit longer for the cluster to converge in a known state. We see that as a problem because that happened mostly 99% of the time when we had a mirror or disable and re-enable it. It doesn't affect mirrors once they are enabled and working. It doesn't affect them. It just affects adding or deleting. That takes way more time than expected. There should be a fix in the next mirror bit version. So it should come. Good point. And it makes the logs really annoying to read. That's the real important part. Good point. Next one, we finished the steps for creating the private report web service. So there were release CI was missing. Funny thing though, I'm not sure why I haven't checked. Oh no, it works now. Okay, we had issues.
I just launched the build a
Oh,
few minutes
okay,
ago.
okay, and I see. Okay,
That's
nothing.
replay. Those ones are
Forget.
replay.
I didn't. Okay, I was looking for the item and I missed the started by user SML. Okay, forget about what I said. So
We have to
it
check the
works.
cron for that one.
It works. We have the website, and Jay is fully utilizing it. So nothing else to add here, I think. Now on the category keep platform up to date, 2 new dependencies updated. Maven 3.9.11 is generally available on the whole platform. And today's release will use Maven. I hope we won't have any issue, but if it fails the weekly release, that means we can look at Maven depending on the failure. And thanks Stefan and Bruno for working on the JDK 25 early integration, which is now generally available on CI Jenkins.io. Anything to add on the updates? Nope. Okay, on the support part. Thanks, Mark, for raising the update center issue. There were 2 files locked on the agent where the update center generated. I don't know. I wasn't able to identify the process. The process was zombified, so I don't know why. Note, with the work that Jay is currently working on, we should detect that way earlier in the future, because that one, it's the typical case in where we had to wait 10 hours for our Mark Waits automated service to open an issue because it detected the failure.
That's
And
an AI.
no, that's
It's
a real
it's
intelligence. First.
it's we need to call it not artificial intelligence, right? That way that way we've used AI in the sentence. It's not artificial intelligence.
I see what you do here. So thanks, Mark. Restarting the agent did solve the problem. I don't remember, but I remember there was a discussion about putting a timeout on that job. And I remember clearly Daniel explaining that, yes, it will solve that kind of problem that happen once or twice a year, but that will create way many more problems. So it's better to have to focus on the monitoring. And I totally agree with Daniel. So the problem has been fixed. Thanks, Stefan, for confirming it later, because I wasn't that much available yesterday.
I
Mark, you
wasn't
raised it.
available when you solved it,
Mark,
so
you raised the issue at the perfect moment. I was going to close the machine. It just took me 5 more minutes to reboot the machines and see that the job started. So the timing was perfect.
good.
Yeah, then I drank a beer and I wasn't able to operate production
Too
safely,
late
right?
after that.
So
Yes.
yes, clearly that was the perfect timing. We had also another issue. Thanks for raising this one as well. We had issue on the Docker caching system we use on CI Jenkins IO. We've identified the issue. Looks like that's still an never-ending bug inside the Docker registry. That bug also exists on other registries. It's related to the technique to invalidate the layers, to mark them as invalidated and having to be re-downloaded. I don't remember exactly. I have a vague memory, and Stefan as well, that maybe there were some settings to tune. Back when we did the initial implementation, we chose to have non-highly available system with only file system backing for both the layers and the indexes, which are two different structures to serve. Maybe we can reconsider that choice and use Redis, because I guess with a Redis system and the messaging for the index, we can, I guess that should improve, because we have enabled garbage collecting and still it fails. And so we have to dig on this one. Since we don't have many hands and we have many things to do, Stefan is okay to eventually walk, or I can take over if he doesn't have time, but we agreed on, let's start with a process that at least once a week, eventually once a day, will clean up the cache and restart the service. You can exchange in the order, but the idea is that the operation I did manually that fixed the issue should be automated once a week at least. Then if we find a technique to have this inside the registry itself or other solutions, then we can. But we are stuck with the Docker registry. That's the only solution we have on CI Jenkins IO to avoid depleting the credits due to bandwidth. So we've closed the issue since the initial problem has been fixed and verified that the pull request of the person contributing has been green or at least launched. And we have reopened the issue about garbage collecting and we will put it on the next milestone. So that's the next step. The support problem is solved. Now we need a longer term solution. That starts with a short-term fix, of course, because it's funny. Are there any question or need for clarification on that one? Okay, and Mark, Basil confirmed that was also the issue on acceptance test builds. So that's cool because now we know what the problem was and how to fix it.
Right. And we've got an action item to remove a workaround that he applied.
Yep.
After it's done, after we've got the root cause.
And I transplanted Basil comment on the garbage collector issue, just so we are responsible for applying a fix and then reverting his workaround, so he doesn't have to think about that. Next issue was a configuration issue on the new mirror in Germany that has been fixed. We never heard back from the end user now, but looks like they created their GitHub account just to report. So good news is the helpdesk things works. People create account and discuss with us. Bad thing is we don't know if they still have issues, but we weren't able to reproduce anymore, so we assume it was fixed. A few support. So we had two domain verification for the new sponsor JetBrain and for the Maven central namespace as well from respectively Alex Brundes and Basil Crow. So they opened the issue, they gave us the information, we held them, and they confirmed it was working. About the update branch protection rule, thanks Mark for taking care of this one because it's mostly helping end user, and I'm not sure the Jenkins Infra could have helped on this one. Honestly, I'm not sure I understood what was their problem. But there were two issues from that user. There were an initial issue, Jenkins job are failing to sync on pull requests. Then they commented on the closed issue, and finally they opened a new issue that was covered by Tim. So thanks, Tim. So basically, that's more for Bruno and Mark here. There is a plugin contributor that had issues related to the Jenkins CI GitHub organization rules on their repository. We don't have power on this one, so I'm not sure we could have helped. And finally, we had an issue close as planned. We talked about implementing inbound protocol for EC2 agents on CI Jenkins IO. The goal for us was to simplify the sequence of start a machine, do some customization, and then start the agent only when everything is ready. EC2 plugin doesn't support inbound agent, so we're done. We are not going to spend time implementing it, and we have other solutions here. Everything is SSH with that plugin. Are there any questions about the task finished or task done? Nope. Okay. Work in progress. On the cloud usage, I've just commented. The AWS consumption rate is good. We have an average of $180 daily since the 7th July until yesterday included. We had some peaks some days at 280, some days way lower at 120. So the average it has 180. I don't know the repartition across the average though. Forecast says 4.5. So our goal for now is 6K for month for the upcoming quarter for this one. If we can go below, that's better. The priority, as we said, is CDF. On the support part, so we discovered the magic of EC2. Yes, Amazon is all powerful. Yes, they sell really, really expensive disk for the virtual machine and really expensive network appliance for the request that goes out, not for the one that goes in, of course. Thanks to, sorry, I forgot the name. We had a contributor that implemented a really nice feature in the EC2 plugin, a native Windows SSH implementation for the agent launcher, instead of the 13 years old hack that say, oh no, no worries, it's a Unix. Yes, this double backslash, ignore them, just pass them to the command line. No worries, that's what we use. Which, of course, when we need to say, oh, have we done the customization for the agent and now you are ready to start the agent, you want to execute a shell. And clearly, Windows say sh.exe command not found. So that we were stuck with this. And thanks to that contribution, we are waiting for the latest release. We will be able to slightly and slowly increase the performances because that will allow us to say, oh, get that really free and really powerful NVMe disk, format it, mount it, move the user home directory into it, and then start the SSH, and then you can continue launching the agent. That wasn't possible due to the concurrency of both steps before that contribution. So that will allow us to stop trying to tune and Maven and Docker and TMP and all of these folders. We can try to move as much as we can on the new NVMe. Feature parity with Linux will do the same. We also had the opportunity to work with that person, and it looks like we can clearly improve the startup time of our machines because our machines are restarting once. That's the sysprep things that tells Windows, hey, you need to reinitialize your whole network stack, in particular the DNS and hostname thing. We use private IP only. We don't need the valid DNS. So if we can skip this one, that will avoid a delay of at least 1 minute during the bootstrap. Yes, Mark?
So, but I thought that sysprep was also required so that Windows computers did not look exactly like each other. Is your idea that we would stop using sysprep at all, or just somehow reduce it?
That one or the other. The contributor on the EC2 plugin doesn't do any sysprep at all. And somehow, I guess they might have one or two warning line in their build output that say, oh, I know that host name, but since these are ephemeral machines and they don't work with each other, I guess we can accept things. The problem we face here is that we also use a feature of Amazon EC2 named Fast Launch that every 6 hours start a Windows machine in background from our AMI, from our template, run pre-warming on it, and then export the result. And our agents start from that result, and everything is automatic because Jenkins say, I want that AMI, and EC2 say, oh, I have that fast launch pre-warm template, let's use it instead. That's transparent for us. And we are not really sure, and we need to learn how the combination of fast launch and sysprep is working, because some steps of sysprep are needed for fast launch to work.
I was
So
understanding that Mark knew way more than us. Maybe he can teach us.
Mark
Because
does not know, other than that
you, you,
Sysprep is a thing that people call all the time. That's about,
for
you've
me,
now
it's a black
exhausted my
hole.
skill. Exactly. And you've hit my skill. That's my skill level
Okay,
as well.
got the
Sysprep
thing.
is an important thing that people do that I've never quite understood all the details.
And
Okay,
additionally
so
to that, we don't call sysprep itself directly. I used to do that with Windows for preparing Ghost templates. However, that's most of us have done with our personal machines or our grand uncle machines or grand home machine, whatever. However, here we call them through a command line installed on the Windows template named EC2 something. So that's a tool by EC2 that run and takes care of calling sysprep specifically for EC2. That
EC2
helps
launcher or
tuning the
something?
EC2 launcher. Yeah, that's the one.
V2.
V2.exe. Not on the path they use to document, of course. Anyway, so yeah, we will need to work on this one. We don't consider that one emergency or high priority, but that's a task that requires a bit of work every week. So we go along the way here, unless we see a real blocker on CI Jenkins IO. At least until we have decommissioned CDF, my credit card, etc. You were there since the beginning. On the category keep platform sane and maintainable, Jay, it looks like your work is almost there. I nitpicked a bit on the pull request, right? But everything looks good. You fixed the last issue, and we are ready to review and deploy the pipeline library part. Is that correct?
Yeah. Then I was hoping we can start the Datadog integration soon
Cool.
after the PR is launched.
Good. So most probably we will discuss about Datadog tomorrow morning. So we give you the first steps, and you should be autonomous. Good. Anything else to add on this one? Cool. The Tombstone Puppet, most probably that should be renamed to Migrate Puppet to Ansible. Thanks, Jack, for the huge work you started on this one. We didn't have time to review. I'm really sorry on that part. I think you were checking and you asked if we could use GitHub Action for the CI part, at least for the beginning. And we discussed about eventually having a dedicated repository. Last time we spoke, we were waiting for you when you will have time to open an issue or comment on the issue with the list of requirements, what kind of repository and GHA, so we can create things to give you more autonomy on the CI part of the Ansible roles. Is that correct? It is still the case?
Yeah, I see. I need to, but I have to ask you one question. Can we set, as there are many components in Jenkins Infra repo, we need to migrate to Ansible, and can we set some priority list, that such as which one is the first one we need to migrate?
Okay, makes sense. From the current Pupel profile, so we can.
And the draft PR is about the archives.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes. So
For
yep.
is it the priority one?
No, the priority for now is to define the whole deployment pipeline. So you have the CI part with GHA for now that we can later migrate to Jenkins. That's implementation detail. And then we will need to think about the constraint for the deployment itself. So what kind of controller, most probably a private, with which kind of credentials and which kind of access to the machines. I'm mentioning that because Puppet is a pool agent-based system. You have an agent everywhere, and you have a centralized Puppet master that takes care of getting the code. And each time a Puppet agent runs on a machine, it pulls the data from the Puppet master. Ansible is a different pattern by default. We could have a pool-like model while deploying Ansible Tower. There are some mod on Tower that allows that for huge productions, but we don't have that problem, which means we will have a centralized location which will have the responsibility of first deploying. So we need to define that pipeline so we know which security concern we should have about this one. And eventually that centralized location will also run the diff because Ansible has a dry run mode, as far as I remember, a bit like the Terraform plan or mfile diff. So the goal is when an infrastructure contributor have a pull request that relates to deployment in production, or if you have a new dependency on Ansible, we want an expected diff, even if the probability of that diff is not 100%, but having a diff that say, oh, you change that Ansible role to that new version, that should introduce the following changes in production. So that's the priority before we jump right into the code. And that's why I think defining at least the CI pipeline for the roles could be a good start. What will be the life of a change? Let's say I want to fix a bug on a role or introduce a new feature. What will be the steps? Opening a pull request, and then what? Do we need to have automated test just for the role with molecule? And then how do we release that new role? And how is that new release deployed to production on our machines? So we need the inventory and etc. Back to your initial question, Archive Jenkins IO is a machine, a single machine. So that could be a great first start. That means we will need to think about the playbook associated to that machine and the inventory that lists at least that machine. Does it make sense and does it answer your question?
Yeah, and I have another question about the strategy, the mode. Like you mentioned, the property is running in pool base, but for Ansible, you mentioned we can use Ansible Tower to mimic the mode like Puppet, the pool mode. I'd like to suggest another way to run Ansible. And Ansible is natively run event-based. And instead of pool-based, we can, would it possible to set up a webhook-based strategy once once the master branch is updated, and we can trigger the Jenkins job to run the Ansible playbook.
Absolutely, that makes sense. That's what we had in mind. So that's what we want. So that's perfect. But
yeah,
yep, sorry, go ahead.
Because you mentioned the Ansible Tower, I think Ansible Tower is too heavy and it's another component introduced in the Jenkins Infra.
In fact, I understood that Damien was referring to the Ansible Tower to say that we would be able, if we really want, to do as we do right now with Puppet, but that's not the aim. We don't need that, and we rather have no Puppet master, so no Ansible master, and just using what you just said, and that would be great. I would just want to add a little something, Damien. I don't know if you spoke about that, but right now with Puppet, we have the advantage to be able to use vagrants to preview on our computer the change we do if we change the GCAS configuration of a controller or something like that. And I'm assuming that there is solution like that, Jack, on Ansible to be able to preview on our development computer what we will push in the pull request?
So two things here. First, the answer is molecule for replacing the current vagrant setup we have. That's the goal of molecule. But the diff in production is a second step because we have roles and we should expect molecule test or anything else per role. Then the role are released. That's something we don't have with Puppet today, but that's something we have with the Docker or Helm chart images. And then the event-based job that Jack mentioned will be the production deployments that say, given all these roles, these playbooks, and these parameters, I will connect to the machines and run Ansible. And that's where you want a diff, Stefan, as far as I understand. That's okay, if I click merge on that pull request on the main Ansible, it should do that. We click, master branch updated, and what Jack said. Then Ansible will run fully apply the change. It's the same pattern as Terraform plan on pull request and Terraform apply on master branch. Jack, is that okay for you to describe the event-based Ansible run, explaining that Ansible tower is too heavy? Just what you said, and because it looks like we all say the same thing. Is that okay for you to describe that in the issue, in a comment, to explain the workflow?
Yeah, I think the event-based is better than Ansible Tower.
I agree. So just for everyone to have an idea, Ansible tower is usually when you have a really huge fleet, or when Ansible apply, the time for Ansible to apply and to converge is key for you. So if you have thousands of machines and that you cannot accept Ansible taking 1 minute to run across the 1,000 machines, then you need Ansible tower, or to change tools, of course, because it has many large fleet capability and it's also useful for a full machine inventory when you have an external auditor. We don't need any of this problem. We can accept Ansible running for 5 minutes. That's okay. Today we have Puppet agent that run once every 30 minutes. So in any case, if Ansible takes 5 minutes to apply, that's still better.
Another question comes into my mind is about the repository the role layout in different repository. Currently in Jenkins Infra repo, all the roles are in one repo controlled by Puppet. But if we migrate to Ansible, as we talked in the last session, we would use a separated repo to maintain different roles. This is different from current repo direct layout.
Yep. Usually, if that's okay, I suggest we start with 2 repositories. One for playbooks that maps the deploy to production, so playbook and the real life data, and one repo for the roles. You can have all in one. Eventually, if we see that the all-in-one is too complex to maintain, then we can switch to one repo per roles. We have both kinds. Our Docker images follow the one repo per Docker image, while with Helm charts, we have one repo for all Helm charts. So we have both patterns existing today for different, both have their pros and cons. So that's also something I think if you can explain that in a written way in the issue, that will help us. We can start with one and reconsider. That's not a problem. That's why I suggest starting with separating roles and production. And then we see if we need to split roles into many repositories. Does it answer your question and does it make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. And in the deployment repo, in the playbook, it will only contain the role name and the exact version, right?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, now if that's okay for you, Jack,
Mhm.
since Stefan will have a lot of days off, that means only Jay and I will be here for yeah, but we want everyone to be at ease with Ansible. So I suggest you and I will sync during the meetings and through the issue or matrix channel for the upcoming 1 or 2 weeks. So we can start to prepare the workflow. And as soon as we have one role that we can release successfully, we will see if we can get Jay on board. So Jay can start contributing to one role at the beginning. How do you feel about that?
Okay. It's okay for me.
Cool. If you we can always change is again is these are suggestions. We are building something unknown for us, so we can iterate and change if we see something doesn't fit our usage, of course. That's all for me on Ansible. Are there other questions? Okay. Then thanks, Jack. Thanks, everyone. The next issue is delayed. As your subscription, as your decommission. So we don't have any pressing matter, and that map the roadmap that's related to PKG migration out from AWS CloudBees. So that one is delayed until we have finished. The admin access for Jenkins GSOC is delayed. I don't have any 8 ETA. Mark, if you have someone on the board that is okay to take over and contact Matrix, I wouldn't mind. Otherwise, I will try to do it later in the month of August. It's just I didn't
Let's
have the time for
yeah,
this one.
let's leave it for later. I don't immediately have anybody from the board that I could pass it to, but I can certainly ask them the question.
Nothing changed on the copilot part. Thanks, Mark. And just a quick update on the Jira LTS. It's commented. I'm discussing with Ryan from the Linux Foundation. They have reached a state where they need the password for binding the new Jira instance to our LDAP. We need to transmit that to them through a safe channel. And clearly, I don't trust one password because that's a third-party service. So I asked Ryan to share their GPG key with us. I haven't had any answer system. Now, a quick check on the triage. I've already pre-triage for you folks because I knew we were going to take some time with 2 weeks milestone. So first, JDK patch upgrade, because we are going to start merging things on the go. Note that Adoptium is clearly in holidays because they provide some releases of some platforms, but no, clearly don't expect any upgrade on our platform for the upcoming 2 weeks. That's why we don't have that much automatic pull request because we are missing S390X. Some platforms are missing, such as RM64 Windows, between all the JDKs. So yeah, that's a bit of a mess. Thanks, Bruno, for sharing. As I requested, I was sure there were that kind of board. So we have a really nifty issue with lots of elements on all the JDKs.
So that's not pretty to look at. Yeah, lots of pose. Ooh.
Actually,
I mean,
scroll down to Java 21. I think it's looking much better now than it did
Yep.
3 days ago.
Yep.
So yes, we still need Windows. The big sticking point for us is x64 Windows. They've got System 390 available, so that's good, and they've got they've got Arch 64 for Linux. So once they get Windows, our 21 will be ready.
Yep.
Yep.
Agreed.
The others
So
less so.
So that's why I will add this resource to the issue. That's really cool. Thanks, Bruno. That
You're
helps a
welcome.
lot.
Yeah, we're lucky to have you, Bruno. Thank you.
So,
Oh, come on.
so that issue is not top priority, but it's on the go. So that's why I'm adding it to the milestone. No, I missed this one. The private staging release is absolutely not going to go on the milestone. The top priority is my credit card, clearly. So trusted cert and infra CI ephemeral machine will have to move to the CDF Azure account and private gates. With Stefan already started to work on this one, thanks. And I'm going to take over, and we also have the Packer one. I forgot the Packer one. Where is it? Oh, okay. I need to improve my label foo. But we have also one new related to Packer. Our Packer images are built on the subscription that consume credits. We will need to move that workload as well. Okay, I think that's all. Do you see other issues or topics that
Yes,
are worth adding?
we
Yeah.
received an email on the mailing list about an error with the apt gate update and install update, I think.
Yeah, for Debian, yeah. I saw that,
So
I
I was
remember.
wondering if that was coming from the infra or not.
That's on the developer mailing list.
Yes.
That need to be checked.
Sorry, could you say that again, Stefan? I wasn't paying enough attention. What was the
I'm
question?
trying to find the mail to show you, but I'm not finding it. Of course,
So
now that I need
user
it.
ask on the dev mailing list. I have a problem
Jenkins.
whenever I try to do sudo apt update and
Oh,
upgrade for
right.
Jenkins, it doesn't show up.
Right. And I double checked. So thanks. I saw this morning and I double checked my Debian machine and it's still able to do it. So it was not
Oh.
an immediate, oh, there's really a problem in the infra. I suspect it's a problem locally on that person's computer, but I did not see the I was not able to confirm any problem on my Debian testing
Okay.
installation.
So I jumped too fast because of his first name, of course.
And well chosen. I'm glad that you take care of other Stefans.
I thought it was an Easter egg from an anonymous account of you, or more or less anonymous.
I don't have any.
Okay,
fake,
I guess, Stefan, do you mind answering to that person saying we need more information? Can you provide a reproduction information? Or could you reproduce with a Docker Debian 11 machine or something?
Trace, maybe just
Debian 11? I
no
don't remember
trace.
what are the version numbers on Debian.
Yeah.
I'm more preoccupied about the forbidden for its IP, so I would like to have a.
Yeah, and it's Bullseye, and we are only supporting Bookworm. But I don't know if that's a problem.
No. Okay, wait a sec.
Yep, but Stefan cooked to the right log error.
Yeah, forbidden.
Forbidden.
Their IP has been forbidden and either by on our machine or them. So, Stefan, can you tell them to provide their outbound IP to see what could be? My guess is the forbidden is not from PKG Fastly itself, but it redirects them to get Jenkins IO. And that's what the mirror on which they land.
So
That
maybe
could be,
one of
yep.
our mirror blocked them. So I was right to check.
Yep, I think so. Let's start with facts. Ask them what are their outbound IPs and if they can produce a reproduction case with a Docker Debian 11 image. Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
And if we see it's a problem, we will open an issue. Thanks, Mark and Stefan, for double checking.
You're welcome.
All the other issues are going to the dark hole of the backlog. Oh no, this one, monitor and garbage collect. Otherwise, I know Basil will have a word to say to me. And he will be right. Okay, I think that's all.
You still need to find the Packer one, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's not by the node generator. It's because the label might be missing, so I will add it manually. Because in any case, you can help me since this is your main task now. You can allocate it and put it on a milestone.
With my pleasure.
It's a subtask of 2025 cloud usage. That's one of the subtasks.
I know.
That's all for me. Do you have anything else to say, folks? I'm proud we did a 2 weeks milestone with only 4 minutes late. So 1 minute of Damien speaking and 5 minutes late.
Well done.
Thanks, folks. So then see you next week and thanks for the work.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.